Hey guys, it is MattySports bringing my Week 16 prediction of the 2014 college football season. Sorry about that, guys. I'm sort of sick, so kind of getting through a cough. But anyway, last week in Week 15 Championship Week, I went 8-2, which is pretty good. I got Northern Illinois over Bowling Green correct, so congratulations to Northern Illinois winning the MAC. Oregon beat Arizona to win the Pac-12. Marshall beat Louisiana Tech to win the Conference USA. Oklahoma State was able to upset Oklahoma on the road, so congratulations to Oklahoma State. Alabama beat Missouri for the SEC championship game. Florida State beat Georgia Tech for the ACC championship. Wisconsin was lost to Ohio State in the Big Ten, so congratulations to Ohio State. That was probably definitely the most surprise result of the week. Ohio State playing on a third-string quarterback, and they completely dominated Wisconsin, blanked them, shut them out. Very impressive win for Ohio State. UCF beat East Carolina to obtain a share of the American Conference. And Baylor beat Kansas State to obtain a share of the Big 12 championship with TCU. But that was last week. Now we're on to Week 16. But before I get into my Week 16 prediction, the College Football Committee released their top 4 teams for the College Football Playoff. Coming in at number 4 is Ohio State. Ohio State looked impressive against Wisconsin. This is the heated debate between the 4 spot of who it should be, whether it be Ohio State, Baylor, or TCU. Baylor ended up getting the 5th spot, and TCU ended up getting the 6th spot. Now TCU is ranked number 3 before last week, so many people thought if they won and looked impressive, which they really did against Ohio State, winning by I think about 52 points, then they would probably stay in. But they dropped all the way to 6. They went from 3 to 6, even though they dominated their team. But it didn't help them that the team they played was 2-10, and they were not a good team at all. So, unfortunately for the Big 12, because they don't have a championship game and they don't play an extra game like all the other teams do, they didn't have enough credentials to be a 4th team. So, it's unfortunate for Baylor and TCU. In my honest opinion, I think Baylor should have been number 4. But that's just because they played in a tougher conference. And if they would have had a Big 12 championship game, then Baylor definitely would have made it if they would win that. But it's unfortunate for the Big 12. Congratulations to Ohio State. They deserve it too. Honestly, all 6 of the teams deserved it. But in the end, only 4 teams can make it. And I think the committee did the best they could and got just the best 4 teams that they could pick. Number 3 was Florida State. Florida State's the only undefeated team left at 13-0. In my honest opinion, I think they should be number 1, but that's just because they haven't lost yet. No other team can say that. Yes, their schedule was not as good as as Alabama and Oregon, but in the end, they've won 29 straight games. They're defending national champions. You gotta have some respect for that. So I think they should have been number 1. Number 2 is Oregon. So congratulations to the Ducks. They completely destroyed Arizona. Good win for Oregon. And they're going to be playing Florida State in the Rose Bowl, so that'll be a good game. And number 1 is Alabama, and they will be playing Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Now, in terms of how I thought the top 4 should have been, my rankings, I would have had Florida State at number 1. Not being biased, but I just honestly think Florida State should have been number 1. Number 2, I would have had Oregon, because I think they're a better team than Alabama. Number 3, I would have had Alabama. And number 4, I would have had Baylor. But that would have been my personal top 4. I don't have too much of a problem with the committee. In the end, I think they did get 4 great teams in the playoff, which was the goal. So congratulations to the committee on getting that done. They also ended up getting great New Year's Six bowls with like the Peach Bowl, Orange Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, and Cotton Bowl. Great matchups all around, including Mississippi State, Georgia Tech, Arizona, Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl. I think it's Michigan State and Baylor, or Michigan State and TCU. It's Baylor and TCU made up BCS 6 games, so did Michigan State. And I think another team made it. Might have been or Ole Miss. I don't know. I only really cared about the playoff and a couple of the New Year's 6 games, so overall, congratulations to the committee. It was a tough season, great season overall, but with that being said, we still have one more game left to pick in the regular season, and you all know what that game is. It is the last regular season game played on the weekend of all the college football awards, including the Heisman Trophy. and that game is Army versus Navy. Now, who doesn't love watching this game? I think this has to be one of the more special games in college football just because it gets its own separate week. It is the only college football game played, at least in Division One, from what I know, that is played on this Saturday, on this weekend of awards. So it's really special to see Army and Navy play a game that's just dedicated to them. No other teams are playing, all the spotlight's on them, which I think is well deserved because most of those players serve our country and they play football while they're in the academy, and I think that's great for them. So in terms of who I'm going to pick, I'm going to have to go with Navy just because Navy's been dominating this rivalry for the past decade. Army came really close last year to beating them, so I expect another great game this year, but until Army beats them, I'm going to have to stick with Navy and go with the Navy midshipmen. And I guess before I end off this video, I'll talk about the Heisman a little bit. Heisman Trophy is going to be given out this Saturday as well. The college football awards are tonight, actually, the day I'm recording this. And the three finalists for the Heisman Trophy are Melvin Gordon, Amari Cooper, and Marcus Mariota. In terms of who I think is going to win, I think Marcus Mariota is probably going to win. If I had to rank them from 1 to 3 of how I think the results will finish, I think Mariota will be number 1, Amari Cooper will be number 2, and then Melvin Gordon will be number 3. That's just my prediction, though. But I definitely see Marcus Mariota winning the Heisman. But I guess that has been it. I guess this is it. I'll take Navy over Army. This is the final prediction of this regular season. Of course, next video you guys will see will be me recapping the Heisman and awards and stuff like that, and then predicting the bowl season. All the bowls have been announced, but I decided to save those predictions until I got this Army-Navy game prediction out of the way just because I feel like it should get its own separate video because it is a special rivalry. So next week I will predict I think it's all 38 bowl games, all 36 bowl games, not sure. But before I end off this video, I also want to talk about one other thing. Here's a question I ask. What if Army and Navy were both like 11-0? That's probably never going to happen ever again. But what if they ended up 11-0? Because before the BCS standings the final standings would be released before this game, and the same with the college football playoff now. The final 4 teams are getting released before this game. But what if Army and Navy are like both 11-0, but their game is played a week after the final rankings get released? What if they're like 11-0 and no other team is undefeated and they're like the best 2 teams in the country? Like, would the committee like wait a week for this game, or does Army and Navy just not count to make it to the playoff because they're not like, I don't know. I just don't see why. Because what if they're both 11-0? You know, what if they're like amazing that year and they really deserve to make the playoff, but the playoffs rankings get released a week before, but they play a week after for their final game. So I don't know. That's just something I wanted to bring up. So let me know what you guys think about that in the comments below, I guess. But yeah, this has been MattySports. I predict Navy over Army for Week 16 for the one game. And I'll see you guys next week where I will predict all the bowl games. And that'll pretty much be it. Anyway, guys, this has been MattySports, and I'll see you guys then.